Good morning, all. This class is all about the drug therapy of myocardial infarction. In the previous classes, we have discussed about the drugs which are useful in the management of angina pectoris. Angina pectoris means transient episodes of ischemia. But here, this infarction means death of the tissue. That means there are certain points where the death of the myocardium takes place, and we will discuss about the drugs which are useful for the management for the treatment of myocardial infarction. Myocardial infarction means ischemic necrosis of a portion of myocardium, that is, there is actual tissue death. There are few causes for this MI, but the most important cause is occlusive thrombus at the site of pre-existing plaque. Pre-existing plaque means already a compromised blood supply, and along with that there is an occlusive thrombus, so that will completely stop the blood supply to a portion of myocardium. So these occlusive thrombus at the pre-existing plaque site completely stop the blood supply to a myocardium, so which result in infarction. And associated causes like prolonged vasospasm or inadequate myocardial blood flow, all these things can lead to impaired blood supply and this myocardial infarction. And now we will see how these patients will going to present. So there are certain typical features as well as atypical features. Most of the time these patients present with the typical features of myocardial infarction, like sudden onset of severe crushing retrosternal pain which lasts for more than 30 minutes, and it's not at all relieved by nitroglycerin, and there is usually a radiation of this pain to the left arm, shoulder, or the jaw, or the epigastrium, and they are associated with sweating, anxiety, and hypotension. At times patients may present with certain atypical features which are not classically seen in a typical case of myocardial infarction. They may present with certain conditions which are associated with some other systems. They may present with fatigueness, tiredness, and during investigation only we will find out that it's a case of myocardial infarction. That means there are 20% of the cases associated with silent MI. It many a times it's associated with diabetes mellitus or occurs in elderly people, and most of the time this is due to some problems with nervous system or autonomic nervous system, or due to high pain threshold. And what are the complications of this myocardial infarction? This myocardial infarction may lead to heart failure, dangerous arrhythmias, cardiogenic shock, myocardial rupture, mural thrombosis, and which may leads to systemic embolization, fibrinous pericarditis with or without effusion, and finally ventricular aneurysm. Coming to the management of a patient with MI, which include general treatment as well as specific treatment. So the general supportive measures include the maintenance of a proper airway, maintenance of breathing, and maintenance of proper circulation. We can use oxygen administration as per the requirement of the patient, and by using IV fluids like normal saline, we should maintain the proper circulatory volume. Now let's see the specific treatment of a patient with myocardial infarction. So for treating a patient with MI, we should have certain aims, which includes pain relief, reduction of the infarct size or prevention of the further extension of the infarction, and prevention of the development of associated complication, and prevention of future attacks. Among these, the first three, that means pain relief, reduction of the infarct size or further extension of the infarction, and prevention of the development of complication, these are the immediate aims, and prevention of future attacks include it's a later aim. So for prevention of the future attack, we should use the drug prophylactically for the lifetime. So the first aim in the management of MI is reduction of pain. For relieving pain, we can use either opioid analgesics like morphine or nitrates. This morphine has an additional property, it produces vasodilatation, especially venodilatation. So this venodilatation relieves the pulmonary congestion as well as reduces the preload of the heart. So both of these together leads to reduction of the cardiac workload. So it's a beneficial thing in MI. We most commonly use this drug in a parenteral route, so in 10 milligram IV route, but its use is associated with another complication. It's vomiting, because this morphine stimulates the chemoreceptor trigger zone in the vomiting center, um, uh, so it leads to vomiting when it's used for the purpose of pain relief in MI. Our second agent for pain relief is the nitrates, and glyceryl trinitrate is the most commonly used agent. Sometimes we may use this glyceryl trinitrate along with this morphine, but use should be cautious in patients with hypotension. Before using this agent, we should check the BP, and if the patient has severe hypotension, we should avoid the use of these nitrates, because nitrates further worsens the hypotension, and it also helps in release the pulmonary congestion. The next aim in the management of MI is revascularization or thrombolysis. That means we already have a blocked coronary vessel, so we should lyse the clot in order to restart the circulation or prevent the extension of the clot or prevention of the further thrombosis and embolism. So the first management wise is thrombolysis, that means the clot lysis. We can use this clot lysing agent like streptokinase, urokinase, altiplase, reticlase, tenecteplase, etc. So these agents act by activating the tissue plasminogen activator in our body, and these tissue plasminogen activator converted into plasmin, and they lyse the clots. So the circulation in the blocked coronary vessels will be restarted. So we can use this agent at the earliest, preferably within 6 hours by IV. So if we are not able to use these drugs within 6 hours now, it's we will be having very chance of losing the patient, because the already a significant amount of myocardium will be necrosed. In centers where there is certain facilities for percutaneous coronary intervention or coronary angioplasty with or without stent, so that is the first hand agent. So in high centers, for example, I think in our hospital also we can have this coronary angioplasty facility. So we should initially try the coronary angioplasty or PCI over these thrombolytic agents. And next is prevention of thrombosis and embolism by using antiplatelet drugs. So we have different agents like aspirin, clopidogrel, prasugrel, etc. But our first line agent is aspirin. If there is any adverse effect or allergy to aspirin, then only we should try clopidogrel or prasugrel. And initially we use at aspirin 325 milligram, 325 to 350 milligram bolus, and followed by 75 to 125 milligram per day lifelong. This that means for the prophylaxis we require only a low dose aspirin, and for the initial management we require a high dose. Our next aim is prevention of the development of complication or the control of the complications. For example, arrhythmias and heart failure. So even though we have several complications associated with this myocardial infarction, we initially look into the complications like arrhythmias or cardiac failure. So for the prevention or the control of arrhythmias, we can use different agents. First one is beta blockers, and we have another agents like lignocaine, atropine, etc. are there. So beta blockers, the use of beta blockers reduces the incidence of arrhythmia as well as the size of the infarct. That means size of the infarct means it reduces the cardiac workload, so the oxygen demand is slower, and we can reduces the size of the infarct. But its use should be contraindicated if there is heart rate, if the heart rate is below 45 or ejection fraction is less than 30, because it reduces the workload of the heart. By blocking the beta 1 receptors on the heart, it reduces heart rate as well as force of contraction. And for the ventricular arrhythmias, we can use the selective agents like lignocaine. And if the patient has bradycardia or bradyarrhythmia, we should increase the heart rate by using anticholinergic drugs, atropine. And for the management of heart failure, we can use inotropic agents like dopamine, dobutamine, vasodilators like glyceryl trinitrate or sodium nitroprusside, and the third agent is diuretic agent, especially furosemide, which reduces the circulatory volume or preload. So I am not mentioning in details about this agent because I think these topics has already been discussed for you. And the last aim for the management of MI is to prevent the development of future attacks. So for the development of for preventing the development of future attacks, we have four groups of drugs mainly. The first one is antiplatelet drug. We should prescribe this aspirin or clopidogrel drug like drugs for the lifetime of the patient with MI. So this agent prevents the platelet aggregation in sites with in sites of endothelial injury in the coronary artery or the sites where the plaque accumulation in the coronary vessels. So platelet aggregation and further blockade in the coronary vessels can be prevented by using these antiplatelet drugs. And second group of agent is beta blockers. We mainly use these cardioselective agents like metoprolol or atenolol. They reduces the risk of reinfarction, congestive cardiac failure and mortality because cardiac workload is very much low if you use this beta blockers for a long time. And the third group of agent is the drugs which reduces the lipid profile in our body. We can use agents like statins which decreases the production of cholesterol, and we can further control this control the hyperlipidemia by using dietary modifications because these lipids can be an essential part of this plaque formation in the coronary vessels. And the next point is prevention of the development of remodeling. So following a myocardial infarction, there are high chances of this myocardium of the heart to undergo remodeling under the effect of renin angiotensin aldosterone system. So following the remodeling, the heart cardiac muscles or myocardium undergone hypertrophy, then the cardiac performance will be getting lower and lower over a period of time. So for prevention of this remodeling, we should use certain agents which are effectively manage the basic pathology of this remodeling. So by studies it is proven that this renin angiotensin aldosterone system is the most important culprit in the remodeling of the heart following a myocardial infarction. So we can use certain drugs which are effective in the renin angiotensin aldosterone pathway. So we have two groups of agent: angiotensin converting enzyme inhibitors like lisinopril, ramipril, captopril, etc., or the angiotensin receptor blockers like telmisartan, valsartan, etc. They reduces the left ventricular dysfunction and dilatation, hence slows the progression of congestive cardiac failure. So these are the management of myocardial infarction. So first aim is to reduction of the pain, second is revascularization, and third is prevention of the development of complication, especially arrhythmias and cardiac failure, and fourth one is prevention of the development of future attacks. And that's all about the drugs useful in the management of myocardial infarction. Thank you.